Ladies, gentlemen, boys and girls. Sorry, I was waiting for the screen to show up that we are live. That was awkward, just me staring. Anyway, let's cut out the awkwardness. Let's talk about NVIDIA just in general. I want to give it a minute to let everybody let the links get out. Let everybody rocking and rolling. Make sure we're live. Everything sounds good. Everything looks good. Then cool. It just started showing up. Now I see why everyone talks about the lag. All right, let's rock and roll. Last night in my group, almost threw a fit. I'm so tired. Not that I'm tired of NVIDIA going up. It's been on an absolute freight train up. And so when it popped up, we were above $700. We were like 703 at the time. Yeah, 704. And I said tomorrow, if it gaps up, I'm going to short it. I'm going to buy puts. I'm thinking gap and crap. We saw a couple of upgrading it to $800 a stock from Goldman, and I forget the other one. But it's starting to seem a whole lot like when gold was on that push, and everyone I think was talking about it was going to go to 3,000. We got so much news that day that it was so positive. Gold was for sure going to make this move that I went short the next day, and it was an amazing trade. I just don't know if I have the stones to just flat out hold it. So I did buy puts in the morning on NVIDIA. And I got to say, market for me opens at 8:30. Felt like it was a little bit longer. I bought the put at 8:41. I sold the put at 8:48. That's how long it lasted. It did shoot up. It was some quick money. But like some people were asking me in the chat, hey, would you put your stop in the green? And my argument there was, yes. You're catching a knife, and we've seen this at this point. We're right inside this candle right here. Yeah, it sold off a bunch more, but even just that wick ended up tagging me out because we've seen it do this: go down, turn on a dime, and then just go right back up. We've seen these red candles on NVIDIA just not last for just jack nothing. Like right here, that ended up being a good day. I mean, you know what I mean? You've watched NVIDIA just go down. You think we're headed south. We're finally getting some profit taking. I realize my head's in the way. We're finally getting somewhere. Turns around, right back up. And then we're up on the day. Like here's a check mark day right here. And today could have been just like this. And this is exactly what I was worried about. You go buying an at-the-money contract, it's $4,000. Now, that is for February 23rd, just to include earnings. But, it drops down. You think you're good, and then it just sends it the rest of the day. So yeah, as far as I can't give financial advice or anything like that, but how I'm playing this is, why does it do this? What year are we in? There we go. Okay. I was buying a contract, so if it was just instantly red, my plan, my risk, my everything was I'm going to hold this through earnings. But there's just no way I'm going to be in a contract like this, watch it go green, and then watch it go red and get smoked the rest of the way. So yeah, I think I am going to try to catch this knife still. It's been on an absolute freight train up, but right now I think it's a little bit vertical. This to me looks like exit liquidity, and I'm super bullish NVIDIA. I don't think they can touch the demand with anything. It doesn't matter what. People need the chips. They need the processing power for AI in general. And right now, we're just, not to talk about valuation or anything like that, but it's going to have to grow into some of this unless the Elon bot's going to show up and just double all of NVIDIA's production tomorrow. Then I can say, yeah, we're probably on point. Right now, with all the upgrades, with everything how it's going, it just to me seems like someone wants to leave retail holding the bags. I've talked about this a little bit. So if you guys do see me talk about shorting NVIDIA, now in my investment account, no, and I have shares, and it's going to suck. As a trader, it sucks watching an investment account go down, especially when like, oh, this is coming down. You just brace for impact. It's like being on the front of Titanic, watching that iceberg come, watching everybody yell and talk about it, and you're just like, all right, here it is, and then you just smoke that thing. So right now in the trading accounts, I do want to start grabbing some puts. People talked about a gap fill. I guess it almost filled that gap. Hopefully it starts filling, any number of these. If we go to the weekly, 1, 2, 3, 4 weeks, an entire month of just nothing but running off of nitrous. Like it's been absolutely insane. So we're 2 days into this week. First of all, we opened up at the beginning of the week up 1 standard deviation. Even the market makers aren't sure how to price this thing in. So at that point, that to me is a sign things are getting a little unstable, and I think we're getting to that topping point to where this could just have a very rough day. And if I was in this and I was just in shares and thinking about any kind of management, I would either buckle up. Just think about this. It could have a very sharp downturn. Now, if NVIDIA pulls back, NVIDIA can pull all the way back down to $530. All that would be is a higher low. We would just check that off and continue up. It would be one of the better dip buys I think you could get if it were to pull that. But imagine what it's going to feel like 3 weeks of red with NVIDIA. You're going to think the world is falling. Not to mention, how many days has NVIDIA just held up the market? It's been the only one moving. Your whole watch list, I don't know how many times I've seen it in my chat. The whole watch list, red. NVIDIA, a couple of the big tech names are up, and it just seems like the whole markets are up just because of that. Dom says, dang it, Pelosi. Yeah, Pelosi got the best buy on this. So anyway, I wanted to touch on that. I do think now all of this time down here, the only thing I've ever said is don't fight the trend. It's just we're on the weekly. So most of this up, even in this chop right here, I'm like, nah, all we're doing is going sideways. Even back here, I wanted it to pull back after that move up. But on this trend, freight train, this is the first time I've thought, okay, this is a momentum ticker. This is no longer NVIDIA, just the absolute giant. The one thing this does remind me of is Tesla. When Tesla went from $300 to $3,500. Remember that time when everyone was making money? And it was so easy to make fun of the people shorting Tesla. I'm like, what are you doing? You know, like, don't be stupid. And then they would short Tesla and it would go up another $200 just the next day. And I don't want to get in that position or be those people. Like, I don't want karma to be coming around and biting me like that. But right now, this feels like the old Tesla. I don't know if it merits it though. I don't know. Steve just says, I think this is the new Tesla. Would I be entirely surprised? No. Would I be upset? Yeah, because I'm probably going to take some. I'm pretty confident I'll be taking some puts on this. But like I traded it today, as soon as it pops up 15, 20, 30%, I had to put my stop in the green. NVIDIA reports next week. I think long till after earnings. Interesting. I could see, you know what's going to be really confusing to a lot of people is it is the 21st. Yes, that's why I bought February 23rd expirations. NVIDIA having red earnings. Who remembers the ticker AI? AI during the AI theme. Now we bought AI and everyone would just buy. Oh, AI. They're going to say AI this, AI that. And then earnings would come out and they'd say, yeah, we are an AI company and that's cool, but we're not that good. We're not doing that much. I don't think. And then it would just come right back down to reality. And then people start buying the AI stuff again. I think if this were to have a red reaction to earnings, it probably would be the dip buy. I just have a hard time coming out and just saying it out loud that I think NVIDIA is going to have a red earnings. Maybe it duds out, but maybe there's some profit taking. If this is the next Tesla, how? Well, just the demand for AI. Everyone is getting on AI. Okay, it's not just some fad, something. If you're just completely dumb to the space, you probably think that your head's probably in the sand like an ostrich. Every company will be affected by AI, and NVIDIA right now is just the leading one with that processing power to develop it, to make it, to implement it. So NVIDIA again couldn't touch the demand no matter how hard they wanted to. It's just unreal right now. So the demand is there. I just don't know if it's as it's gonna be taken out of context no matter what I say. So I'm just gonna not say the next thing. Long story short, TLDR. Be careful on this one. This one has the volatility. This one moves contracts, which as a trader is awesome for me. Now, an at-the-money contract costs about $4,000. So get ready for that because $4,000 moves quick per contract. Don, I don't know if anyone told you, but the internet is just a fad. Isn't NVIDIA the only one with Class A chips? Um, maybe. And I say maybe because they might be right now. But like I had a talk with the group the other day, who is going to sit there? And I use this explanation with my group the other day. Imagine you had a lemonade stand and all you used was lemons and water. And then the person next to you was lemons, water, and sugar. And they're just turning and burning. No one's buying your stuff. And there's just a line right there. Uh, you're one tweet, one announcement away from Intel saying, we're going to do what that person's doing. And then all of a sudden, there that line scoots over. It's just like a cash register opening up. Well, why? First of all, why wouldn't you? And I don't know how long it's going to take for any other chip manufacturers to get on board to realize NVIDIA doesn't have to be the only one, especially listening to the verbiage of some of these CEOs talk about. It used to be we need this many AI chips, we need this many NVIDIA chips, to now we need this much processing power. I don't care what name is on the label. We need this processing power. So I don't think NVIDIA is going to be the only one. AMD has said plenty of times they plan on competing and bringing some stuff up quick. That takes time, a couple of years, I think. Maybe. But what does the announcement do to the stock market? If the stock market is a forward-looking vessel, all they need to do is announce it. Hey, we are making this. And the next thing you know, yes, it's a year down the road, still much faster than any Cybertruck, Roadster, Model 3, all the other things Tesla's announced that still hasn't come out yet. Things will react in real time, though. What about the M1 Apple Silicon chips? Doesn't that have power in AI? Apple's in their own ecosystem. What if Apple goes after AI? I heard they're staying away from it. That's very wrong from what I'm hearing. And I've had some things to say about Apple, but turns out there's been some leaks that, I don't know if they're strategic leaks or what, but Apple likes to keep things very secretive. And Apple is not staying away from the AI space. It sounds like we're about to come out with the Siri 2.0, and everything's going to have its own verbiage. Yeah. So Apple actually, it's the first time in a while that I've actually thought, should I actually put Apple in I have it in my investment portfolio. But if you've been following me for some time, I actually sold 75% of it back when it was at 175. It's at 189 right now, so it's not too far off. But hearing that Apple is not sitting the AI stuff out makes me think they could be a decent contender just because the money they have. But so that will need to be seen. Actually, Apple is teaming up with Taiwan Semi in Phoenix, Arizona, building a chip plant. Yeah, see, there's too much development in here that NVIDIA might be on the throne right now. And to rein it back in, NVIDIA is on the throne, rightfully so. And some people might be getting excited, but kind of like with Brad in earnings talking about Palantir. He said it was a head scratcher. He wasn't sure. First, it was guidance moves things, but then guidance didn't move this one. Doesn't actually matter. Okay. You can come up with the reasons. We can talk about the why. We can talk till we're blue in the face. We can convert all the oxygen to CO2 in the world. But what matters is buyers and sellers. And right now, it looks like somebody's leading NVIDIA up to drop it off on them. And we've seen this volleyball spike multitude of times. Now Pelosi got the best dip buy, but when is Pelosi going to sell? And where's NVIDIA going to be at by the time you find out she did sell? So this is what I would be very cautious of. It's high enough for me now, and it's throwing off the right signs that it might be time that there could be a very decent short in here. Also, this might just not age well. This could easily just push to $800-900 and pull back to $720. That could be your dip buy. And I went out and bought a 680 put and got absolutely obliterated. We need a Pelosi ETF. Yeah. FYI, Taiwan Semi is who supplies NVIDIA. Nice. Did you see the guy? Did you see the clip of the guy in a self-driving Cybertruck with the Apple goggles on? No, I did not. But the Apple goggles, I gotta say, I'm seeing all the real people reviews. They are nice. I was not going to buy some, but I think I have to now. Has a company ever produced a product that just about every technology company has been buying? I'm not sure that markets have ever seen anything like this or a company this seemingly important. Cody says that was done. That's just me and my Cybertruck. Yeah, I put it out. Um, that's a good question. Has a company ever produced a product that everyone needs? This is like someone coming out with water. Turns out humans need that. I'm trying to think of a time. Uh, I will say AI is a need. A lot of things are a want. People want EVs. People want the new cool things. AI, if you want to be relevant or around in a year or two, you need AI like a human needs oxygen. So yeah, no, that's a good question. I don't know if there is any examples. Um, Cisco was like that. See Cisco in the year 2000. The cool thing is NVIDIA is building the processing power. They're not the ones building well, they're being led by their building of the shovel. They're not selling the gold. Um, so I do like. I don't think it turns into a Cisco, but I have to say every tech company sitting on the throne. Every day you have someone going after your throat. Every day someone's trying to dethrone you. There's not a day that's not. Um, So I would be very cautious with this. And again, like Steve said in the comments, was yeah, Intel could announce that it's going to take a couple years to get things up and running, but I bet that announcement changes the game right then there. People try to front run these moves all the time, and that's what I think we're sitting on. We are. I bet everybody right now. Just imagine walking into a room full of people just jacked on their eighth, pot of coffee. These people are buzzing. You make one sound, you drop a pin, and there's just going to be movement everywhere. That's kind of what NVIDIA feels like right now. They might all just stampede in one direction. They might just flurry and scatter like cockroaches. It makes it volatile. So as an investor, you got to just say, I'm riding this storm, or I'm going to get out. Or as a trader, manage your risk, watch your trades, dot your I's, watch your P's and Q's, dot your I's, cross your T's. Yeah. You got to do that stuff. And then just move forward. There's going to be a lot of movement. I'll put it that way. Movement is where traders make money. Again, I'd like to say this all the time. I have an income bias, not a directional bias. I don't care if it goes up, down, sideways. NVIDIA currently is working on going backwards. It's trying to cross time zones. That's how up it's getting. So that's getting a little crazy for me. Talked about this earlier. NVIDIA right now is starting to look like Mara. When everyone's talking about Mara when it was at $30, why fundamentally Mara was a great play, why I went short at $30. It turned out to be great. Should I buy some NVIDIA puts to protect my position? I wish I could answer that for you. For a multitude of reasons, I can't. One, it's not financial advice. Two, what if I'm wrong? What if this is the next Tesla and it goes 3,500? I personally don't want to stand that. With NVIDIA in my account, it's also why I have some NVIDIA attention in my trading account. Ultimately, I will know that is a hedge. Deltas wise, I will stay long. But how I'm going to view this is I will be buying NVIDIA puts. Might be just a few minutes trade. It might be a few days trade. But I will take those profits. And if we do catch a dip buy, I will use those profits, transfer them into my investment account, and just buy NVIDIA shares. NVIDIA has grown in my investment account just because of its price growth right here. But that is such a loaded question right now that I just don't want to look stupid for even trying to answer. Why not short the shares instead of buying the expensive puts? Is it because you own the shares? Yeah, that would just be pointless for me. I would rather spend less. Okay, so let me just. What are we at right now? We're at 673.25. Okay, so 50 shares would cost me 30, just shy of $3,400. If I'm right though, to hedge that, I would probably need more like 60 shares. So let's do 65. What are we at? 673.25. Did I? I didn't do that right. Hang on. Hang on. 65 times 673.25. 50 shares. All right, so I did that math well. I knew that seemed very off. Yeah, so 50. Let's just straight out. No, we don't do any algo anything. Okay, so just so I can explain these, are 50 shares, 33,000. Let's go NVDA. Okay, so let's say I want to hedge my earnings play. Now I can short shares, 50 of them, and I would be 33,000 deep. 1 + 1 = 3. Yeah. Should have moved the decimal over on that one, guys. Sorry about that. Okay, so buying puts would cost me 3,200, and I would have control over 48 shares. So let's go 50 shares. We'll match it 50 shares to 50 shares. I'd be spending 3,500. I'd spend 3,500 on some puts, or I would be shorting, $34,000 worth of shares. So if it skyrockets, let's say earnings goes absolutely nuts, and this is just the beginning. Yeah, I lose 3,500 bucks. Okay, big deal. But those, let's bring that back up. If it skyrockets, my 34,000 gets significantly less. My 3,500 gets significantly less too as it pushes up. But let's say it sells off. Now, if it sells off, where were we at? We were buying the 680s for 50 shares. Let's say it sells off 50 bucks. Okay. It's pricing in an $80 move. Let's say it sells off 50 bucks. We can cover that in 15 minutes. Then we would go from 3,300 to 6,600, and I'm now controlling 75 shares. So I'll get exponential growth with limited risk by just going with a naked put instead. If you short shares, you can keep your long position, can you? Yes, because they're in a different account. Other than that, no. You can't have a long and short position in the same account. Short with shares would be a lot more capital intensive. Yes, and with this movement, I don't want to just be short shares. Not only is it cheaper to grab a put, I will get the exponential growth from 50 shares to possibly 100. But if it gets smoked and it absolutely jumps up, I lose 35. It's not too, I don't just start losing more. I will gain more as it sells off, but I will lose less if it pushes up. You can have a long and short position in Fidelity. Oh, that's weird. Why wouldn't you just do that? I would just open a Fidelity account and just go 2 million long, 2 million short, and tell everybody you're managing $4 million. Be the same thing. Lock in the most you can lose. Yes. And with the volatility of NVIDIA, that's why I don't want to even buy a spread. I would just rather go naked put. And then if it sends it down, I'm in a much better position. If it sends it up, cool. I've shaken off much worse. Yeah, I think puts would be the way to go for this particular way to hedge. But let's turn and burn as far as everything else goes. So Tuesday, Thursday, and then Sunday. Sunday stock talk. Tuesday and Thursday, we kind of get your updates. So we'll do over anything pressing, and then the dollar, the Russell, the NASDAQ, the S&P. Then I do have to get to my group. But as far as the dollar goes, I am short the dollar. I did not add on yet. I did want to add on in this weekly zone, but I want to add on in here. So I don't want that. They're not really lining up for me right now. So this would be a long. Well, I might actually go long that. I'm gonna. This will probably end up being a play that I take with my mentorship group. I want to think about this for a second, but I might be going long this right here. I just want to think: do I want to wait and use that capital for U.S. dollar Japanese short because I am bullish the yen, or do I want to go long this play right here? Bitcoin still hanging out. Now, Bitcoin on the daily time frame still, again, locked inside a range. So a push above or below and close above or below that line will likely be your signal to which way we are headed. As far as the Russell goes, today we had a little baby green candle. Still very much in a daily trend down. All that was is just a dip buy for anybody going a dip short. If anybody does that, this will probably make more sense to you. You would be dip buying this on your puts. Ultimately, though, still making higher lows and lower highs. So we got to see just kind of which direction that does break. I do think if this zone breaks, I guess we could go sideways, but I think we put in the lower low. So I would be on the lookout for that. As far as the expected moves, nothing to talk about there. One day I wake up to see Bitcoin, 50K Bitcoin. Yeah, one day, probably this year. NASDAQ. See, this is looking like a breakout play. And that's why I do have it highlighted. So we'll need to see. Right now, we're just cooling off, consolidating, maybe building the energy for a breakout, or just getting a little top heavy, starting to fade and come down. One of those scenarios is likely about to play out. NASDAQ for me has been an absolute wild card. While I have been and am short the S&P, and I've been short the Russell in this period of time, NASDAQ's one I've been kind of shying away from because you kind of just have to go along because Meta, NVDA, one of the tech names is just going to carry that thing up. It's been absolutely crazy. And I do worry about this. Here's all the tech names. NVIDIA's about to just let that handle go, and everyone's going to fall. But again, too much of a wild card for me to just outright be like, you know what, that's overbought. Let's short it. At this point, it's easier to just play the trend. Today, a little bit of a pullback, and that's it. As far as expected moves go, nothing to talk about here. Again, staying right inside. As far as the S&P, a little bit of a green day, kind of still grinding our way up. I do think tech or financials is going to lead this one. Financials will typically lead the Russell. It does carry some weight in the S&P right now, kind of bull flag-ish. Got a little extended. I think we're just cooling off. For now, what's going to lead the way is again probably NVIDIA or financials, but for now, just kind of chilling, kind of keeping the grind alive. I did not think we were going to bounce out of that zone. I really wanted to catch the dip down here. And for now, tentatively, I have this white zone right here. It's a dotted line because that's kind of all the data we have right here. And people ask, hey, is that a zone? Kind of is. Has the makings of it. I just want to see it from here to here. I want to see a little bit more interaction there before we just flat out make it solid and put a yellow box in there. But, ladies and gentlemen, I do have to get rolling. I do have to get to my group. There is a video coming out. Mentorship group, you'll be live with me. Unfortunately, there is a video coming out at 7 o'clock. It's 6:46 my time right now for everyone watching this live. It's going to be on the Don Franz Show. So everyone on Power Trading, head on over to right now Don Franz Show. But it's an AI video talking about there was a study done on AI versus lawyers, and it's absolutely insane. So if I have any lawyers watching this right now, it's mandatory that you watch this. Don't ask me another stock question until you watch this next video coming live in 13 minutes. That's how mandatory that is. But anyway, I got to wrap it up here. Ladies and gentlemen, I will see you guys Thursday. Have a good one.